This is WOLA Demonstration 3, a COBOL application running in ZOS batch, calls a WAS-EJB with multiple parameters. For this demonstration, we'll use the WOLA CB06 sample, which is available in the WOLA samples directory for the WebSphere application server for ZOS 7004 FixPack. Essentially, what you're going to see on this demonstration is how we convert a COBOL copybook, in this case, Bank UMAP shown on the left here, is being converted into a helper class using the Rational Application Developer toolset, which can then be used inside your target EJB application. This allows you to use getter and setter methods to retrieve various fields within the COBOL copybook and to set those various fields back. We'll now go ahead and start this demo. So this is WOLA Demonstration 3, where we're using the sample WOLA CB06 to show you how to drive an EJB from a batch COBOL program, passing a set of parameters and retrieving those parameters in the Java application. Here we show the name of the copybook, Bank UMAP. Notice the copy statement is commented out here, and we've embedded the copybook itself into the source file. And this is essentially the part that would be placed in a file down on your workstation, where you would pull it in under Rational Application Developer to convert it into a helper class that will allow you to get at these fields from inside your Java application. Notice here we've got a register call, and here we're setting up to make a call to VBOA1 invoke. In setting up, we are essentially getting the service name into place. Bank unit home is our target EJB. We are getting prepared, the parameters prepared. Request area address is set to the address of bank map I. Response area address is set to the address of bank map I. So we're essentially passing a group of these parameters into the target EJB and getting the response back in the same area, placed in the same area, because the bank map O is simply a redefine of bank map I. And notice here now we're calling VBOA1 invoke and driving that EJB. A very simple scenario. We then display some messages out indicating what the response was. So if we move over and look briefly at the target EJB, bank unit bean here in Rational Application Developer, we have a method called execute here. Again, this is the standard way that you'd give control to a target EJB, with a preset method called execute in your target bean. Here we're showing how to collect the byte array into a structure or a instance of a class that we've created using the RAD tooling. Notice it says bankmap.populate here with arg0, which is our byte array input parameter. That is essentially filling out the instance of the class that contains all of the parameter data that has come across, and it makes it such that it's retrievable using the getter methods and settable using the setter methods that are provided by the RAD tooling. So this is essentially an example of how, once you've created the helper class, how to use it. So we're going to come back to this momentarily, and we're now going to take you through some steps that demonstrate how to use the RAD tooling for this purpose. So I've used FTP to copy the copybook down to my workstation, placed it in a file called bankunit.cpy in the path CJM WAS to CICS/beta. And that's now saved there and ready to bring in using the Rational tool, the RAD tool, to convert it into a helper class for us. So we're going to take you through the steps involved in creating that helper class now. So we start inside Rational Application Developer, and we're going to take BankMapU and make a helper class out of it. We start by clicking File, clicking New, and then selecting Other. Underneath that, we go to the J2C folder and we click on Kix IMS Java Data Binding, and we click Browse to indicate where to pick up the copybook from. So we select the beta directory, and we select bank unit copy. And we click open. Here we click next. And then we need to select the data structure we want to base this off of. And we indicate this is a ZOS. And we're going to select IBM 1047 as the code page. That's where we're coming from. We click on Query, and it will open up that file and look for any structures inside there. It found two, bank map I and bank map O. We click Next here. Now we click the project name in RAD we want to save the helper class into, OLA sample 1. We click the package name in there we wish to save it to, com.ibm.ola. And the class name. I'm going to give it another class name here. I already have a bank map I out there, so I'll give it another class name, bank map 2. And I click Finish. So now what we have here with bank map 2 is a class that provides a set of marshalling capabilities that allows us to not have to deal with things like code page conversion and big or little endian issues. These are all taken care of by the helper methods, the getter and setter helper methods. So if we page through here, you'll notice that there are getter and setter methods throughout here. There should be at least 3, one for each of the fields that we're gonna want to retrieve. Here's the populate method that we had showed you earlier. If we keep scrolling down through this class, we'll come across a get bank type I. And a get method for each of the variables that were in the COBOL structure. Here's get bank type I. So what we've got is a pre-built set of getter and setters by the tooling that take a lot of the difficulties out of dealing with translating from a byte array into a Java class for us. So we now move back to the OLA CB06 source. And we look at the setting up of the parameters here. We're moving 18 to bank type I. We're moving 25,000 to bank amount I. We're setting up the rest of the input parameters, the lengths, and the target EJB of bank unit home. We're also moving a string in bank unit inquiry request into the bank data, the 128-byte string that's going to go across to the target EJB. So essentially, we're setting up for the invoke call. We then use the BBOA1 INV API here to drive into the target EJB with that set of parameters. Switching over to the target EJB, bank unit bean has the execute method that we looked at the beginning. And here, note that we are newing up a bank map I instance and calling it bank map. Bank map I is the name that OLA CB06 uses. The demonstration we showed you earlier was bank map 2. But essentially, bank map I is the name that the sample uses, so that's what's shown here. The populate method, again, this is designed to fill out the instance of this class so that we can use the getter and setter methods. Here we're getting bank type I, here we're getting bank amount I, and we're getting the string that's passed over into bank data. We display these with system out print lines. Now the extent of the business logic here is quite simple. Essentially, all we're doing is we're changing the string to bank unit request completed OK. We're using the set bank data method to set up that response. And we set up the type parameter. We change that to 99. We change the amount to 99,000. And we use system out to print those. Now we'll go ahead and submit this. This is just a set of JCL that drives OLA CB06. And we'll go ahead and run that. So the batch job runs, and what we see here in the servant region log is the result of the system out print lines. We're showing that input we received an 18 for the bank type and an amount of 25,000, and this is our string. We then reset the output to 99 and the amount out to 99,000, and this is our output string that we've that we've reset. These are the system out print lines we just looked at. We then look at the actual batch job output. These are the display commands that are issued in the COBOL program. You'll see here the display showing the bank type in 18,000, amount 25,000, and request in string is bank unit inquiry request. We do the invoke and we get the return reason and return value back. The response data now has bank unit request completed OK. The bank type out 99 and the bank amount out is 99,000. So with this, we've completed the demonstration 3, WOLA demonstration 3, which shows how a COBOL batch program can drive into a target EJB and WAS